This is Number One Comic Books. My name is Tom. And in a recent and previous video, I mentioned that I had not been to a comic book store in about 40 years. That was true in that I had never been to a comic book store in the last 40 years to even look or purchase anything for myself. I went a couple times in that span, literally just a couple times within 40 years, just to let my kids look around. I had a previous video where I showed the things that I purchased my first time back in a comic book store. And within 2 weeks now, so it took me 40 years to go into a comic book store and buy something for myself. Within 2 weeks, I've gone twice. I've got some more purchases here, and I'm going to share them with you. All right, so we have our bag of comic books here. And you never know what I'm going to get. I go in with an idea. I've got a little list. Ironically, this time, and I know there's a better way, guys, but I usually write things on a Post-it note. I forgot to take my Post-it note with me. I couldn't remember what it was that I really had on my list to look for. But as I was browsing, I was able to find a few things that I thought looked interesting, and at least one thing that I was hoping to get. So, as we are embarking on the Halloween season in 2023, I got this by recommendation of the gentleman at the comic book shop. Put it over here, maybe. Hunt for the Skinwalker. He said this one was pretty good. I asked for some good recent horror books, and he recommended this by Boom Studios. And actually, just in case I like it, we got number 2 as well. So I don't think that I won't like it. And again, I do apologize for that lighting. I've got to work something out. Let's see. I don't know, that might be a little bit better, but not much. So anyway, I've got 1 and 2, Hunt for the Skinwalker. And as part of my looking for something horror related for the Halloween season, this one I've heard of, Haunted Girl, and my dog is over here rustling through stuff. I've heard of Haunted Girl just from watching other comic book videos, so looking forward to getting into this one again, number 1, which is something that I keep an eye out for. One of a 4-part little mini-series. I do enjoy the mini-series. I was telling the guy at the comic book store that, you know, there's so much I've missed out on over the last 40 years and so much that continually comes out new, but I've got to really focus in. I can't get too much. I don't want to be started on 20 series that I enjoy and they just keep going and, you know, spending $100 a week on comic books. So I'm trying to narrow in. I get these number 1s. I read them. If it's something I truly enjoy like Cap Wolf, then I'm certainly going to be looking for that in the future. Something like a Haunted Girl, if I like it, being 1 of 4 is perfect, because then I know I just have to buy the 4. I've got the whole series. I was able to enjoy it. The story's over, and I don't have to spend more money. So the surprise of my comic book trip. I have, I think, mentioned before that I am an old school ninja fan. I grew up on the movies.
The ninja, the perfect assassin.
I've recently been looking for ninja-related comic book series. And that's something that I will ask you guys. If you know of any comic book series, past or present, that were really good and were ninja-focused, let me know. I mean, I've heard of maybe 3 or 4, this being one of them here. And as I was kind of rifling through the boxes, I found this number 1. And it is Ninjak. And it's a really cool cover, and again, my lighting is not doing it justice, but it's some sort of a foil cover. Ninjak number 1 by Valiant Comics. There's also one called Ninja Elite that I've seen. I think that's done. Maybe it ran 14 or 16 books, I think. So I would like to get that at some point too. One called Ninja Funk that I've heard of that, I don't know, it didn't look immediately appealing, but if you've read it, maybe you can change my opinion. And that might be about it. One called the Nth Man. So anyway, if you know of any, please let me know. I'd love to check them out. But so I picked this up for $5. Looking forward to reading my first ninja comic book, probably ever. That was it for the pickups. This way, I try to stay focused and not just go crazy, because believe me, I could spend $100 plus every trip in the comic book store, as I will assume probably you could as well. It is very tempting, but I try to, stay. I think this in total was just over $20 for me, so a pretty good trip for me. But anyway, I thought I would share, maybe get your opinion on the ninja books as well. And that's really all I have for this one. So, as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.